There are people who spend their entire lives taking care of everyone else, only to wake up one day feeling completely forgotten. Today, I had coffee with my younger self. I woke up carrying a sadness I couldn't ignore. As I looked back on my life, I realized I had devoted so much of it to other people. People who, today, barely seem to remember I exist. That's when I decided to have a conversation with myself. Not the person I am today, but the man I used to be. What happened next surprised me. I looked across the table at my younger self and finally gave voice to the feeling I had been carrying for so long. I think I got it wrong, I admitted. I spent too much of my life taking care of everyone else. Maybe I should have invested more time in myself. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he looked at me with the calm confidence I remembered so well. Then he quietly said, "Don't let those thoughts destroy everything you've built." I lowered my eyes. He continued, "You spent years loving people, serving them, and giving them your best. That was never a mistake. And it still isn't. God didn't create you to stop bearing fruit simply because you've grown older." Then he pointed to the Bible resting on the table between us. I picked it up and opened it. My eyes fell on Psalm 92. They will still bear fruit in old age. They will stay fresh and green. I read the verse twice. It wasn't just a beautiful promise. It was a reminder that God still had a purpose for my life. I took a deep breath and watched my younger self slowly stir his coffee, just as I used to do years ago. For a few moments, neither of us spoke. Finally, I broke the silence. "I believe those words," I said. "I really do. But sometimes I wonder if the life I lived was enough to please God." He smiled gently. "I think it's time you stopped measuring your life by what people remember and started looking at it through God's eyes." He leaned forward. "Let's try something." "What?" "Instead of dwelling on regret, why don't we take an honest look at the man you've become?" I looked at him without saying a word. "I'm confident that if you truly did," he continued, "you'd see someone worth respecting. The lack of recognition doesn't erase your value. Growing older doesn't reduce your worth." I sighed quietly while he kept speaking. "Your life experience is a treasure. Every year you've lived has taught you something, and that wisdom has shaped more lives than you realize." I couldn't accept that. I interrupted him. "That's not how I see it." I shook my head. "I'm sure most of the people I've known have already forgotten me. Life moved on, and so did they." He smiled again. The same patient smile I remembered from years ago. Then he said, "You're wrong. Your story didn't disappear. The people who shared life with you learned more from your example than you probably ever noticed. Your conversations, your decisions, your sacrifices, they all left fingerprints on other people's lives, even if no one says thank you anymore. Your influence is still there." I slowly shook my head. "That strength is gone," I whispered. "I don't have the energy I used to. Sometimes I feel like I've been left behind, forgotten in a corner while life keeps moving without me." His expression didn't change. His voice remained calm, but every word seemed to echo deep inside me. "Don't focus on what you've lost. Look at what you're still carrying." He paused. The strength of someone who has survived hardships. The wisdom that only years can teach. The faith that has carried you through storms most people never even saw As he spoke, I watched the steam rising from my coffee. Its familiar aroma brought back memories I hadn't visited in years. Family dinners, laughter around the table, friends I hadn't thought about in decades. Without realizing it, I smiled, re-sighed softly. "Your heart still knows where joy lives." Then his voice grew even gentler. "Today, the feeling that should fill your heart isn't loneliness. It's peace." He pointed once again to the open Bible. "This time, read Isaiah." I looked down and found the passage. "Even to your old age and gray hairs I am he. I am he who will sustain you. I have made you, and I will carry you. I will sustain you, and I will rescue you." For a moment, I closed my eyes. "I know God sees me," I finally said. "I know He knows my name. But sometimes, I can't help feeling that my purpose has already come to an end." For the first time, my younger self looked at me with deep compassion. Achi, that moment he finally understood what had been hurting me all along. We hadn't been talking about the same thing. I was staring at everything that was behind me. He was looking toward everything that could still be ahead. A future I had almost convinced myself no longer existed. He smiled. "If God still sees purpose in your life, why don't you?" I didn't have an answer. "So let me ask you something else. Sadat, what if you stopped seeing solitude as a punishment and started seeing it as an opportunity?" I frowned. "How?" He leaned back in his chair. "Start by learning to enjoy your own company. Peace begins there." He took another sip of his coffee before continuing. "Do the things that once made you feel alive. Not because someone else expects you to, but because they still bring joy to your heart. Listen to music. The songs that take you back to beautiful moments. You'll be surprised how quickly hope finds its way home." As he spoke, I suddenly recognized the young man sitting across from me. His passions hadn't disappeared. Neither had mine. I'd simply abandoned them somewhere along the road. He smiled, almost as if he knew exactly what I was thinking. "And don't forget one of the greatest gifts you've ever had. The love of reading." I laughed quietly. "I almost forgot about that." "I know," he replied. "But the person who loved learning, who loved discovering new ideas, is still inside you." He leaned forward again. "And if loneliness still knocks at your door, don't lock yourself away. Take one small step. Call an old friend. Talk to your neighbor. Sit down with someone over a cup of coffee." I thought about it for a moment. "So, you're saying I should spend more time with people my own age?" He smiled. "Not only them. Young people need you more than you realize. They may not always say it, but they need someone who's already walked the road they're just beginning. They need stories, perspective, wisdom, hobby. And you have all of that." He let those words settle between us. Neither of us spoke for a while. Then he quietly added, "One day, younger generations will realize something. They'll understand that the greatest lessons in life aren't always found in classrooms. Sometimes, they're found in conversations with someone who's already lived through what they're facing." He smiled, "And when that day comes, you'll discover that sharing your story is one of the greatest gifts you can give." I sat there, silently absorbing every word. He took one last sip of his coffee. The cup was almost empty now. Then, almost as if he'd remembered one final piece of advice, he looked at me and said, "There's one more thing. Don't isolate yourself. Protect your physical health and your emotional health. Being independent doesn't mean you have to face everything alone. If you need help, ask for it. Talk to your family, talk to a trusted friend. Speak with your doctor, a counselor. Join a support group if you need one. There is wisdom in accepting help. It isn't weakness, it's courage. Then he smiled one last time. And whatever you do, don't let an aging body convince you that your spirit has grown old. For the last time, he reached for the Bible. He opened it and quietly read, "Therefore we do not lose heart. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day." 2 Corinthians 4:16. He closed the Bible, finished the last sip of his coffee, and looked at me with the peaceful confidence I remembered so well. A few moments later, he was gone. I sat there alone. Or at least, I thought I was. I looked down at my empty coffee cup and smiled. Something inside me had changed. I walked out of that little coffee shop carrying a peace I hadn't felt in a very long time. Maybe I should have coffee with myself more often. As I walked away, I realized something. Growing older doesn't mean your story is over. Sometimes it simply means you've finally reached the chapter where your life can become someone else's hope. And now I'd like to ask you something. If you had the chance to sit down for coffee with your younger self today, what do you think he would say to you? I'd truly love to hear your story. You can send me a message. You'll find my email address in the description of this channel. I personally read every message I receive. And every story is treated with complete respect and confidentiality. Before you go, never forget this. Every morning you wake up is another reminder that God still has a purpose for your life, so don't lose hope. Keep your faith, because God is not finished with your story. Amen.